Hey everyone, Ellie here. Welcome to the first episode of Chords Conversation. I'm so excited to be kicking things off with today's guest, the incredibly talented, multi-instrumentalist, and absolute sweetheart of a human being, Matt Kelly. Matt's been playing and recording with City and Color since 2013. He's currently the band leader and even co-produced the latest album. He's also worked with a wide range of artists from Pink to Alexis on Fire and brings something special to every collaboration. Let's get into this episode. I can't wait for you to hear it. Hey, Matt. Welcome to Chords and Conversation. Super excited to have you.
Hi, Allie. Yeah, nice to chat with you.
Well, let's go ahead and get started. I had the pleasure of seeing you play twice back in June. Both incredible shows, totally different atmospheres. One night you're at Hippie Honky Tonk at the Bell and Beacon, which is a quiet little hole in the wall. And the next year at a sold out Budweiser stage with Dallas Green. And, you seem, yeah,
Yeah,
and you
slightly
seem
different environments.
pretty at home in both places. What's it like to go from one environment to the other?
I love the variety of it. I feel like I've sort of been, you know, I've been the I've been lucky to get to play bigger venues a lot of the last 10 years or so, but the 10 years prior to that, it was exclusively tiny venues to few people. And yeah, I don't know, it's the getting to do a bit of both is really nice. Like I think it's fun to play in front of lots of people, but I think there's kind of something that gets lost. The bigger the show, maybe the less you can connect individually, maybe not necessarily, but I think there's pros and cons to both. And so I feel lucky to get to do uh the highs and lows and in betweens.
Well, speaking of the anniversary shows for Dallas, those were both big stages, big crowds. Do you ever feel overwhelmed in those moments, or does it just feel surreal?
I think sometimes I feel physical sort of nerves, like I'll feel butterflies a little bit on the big shows, but it's pretty rare that I feel like actually sort of psychologically nervous. I think Dallas and I have been playing together for so long now that it feels like, we could sort of step onto a stage and wing it and feel totally comfortable and sort of supported by one another in a way that makes it kind of hard to feel truly nervous. Sometimes, huge shows can be a little bit nerve-wracking just, I don't know, in theory or something, or, playing like that Royal Albert Hall show was just like kind of crazy because it's such a legendary venue that I was trying to not allow myself to think too much about that before playing. Obviously, after playing, it's been really nice to sort of think back and reflect on how incredible it is to have been able to play there. Like it's just a stunning venue and looks amazing and sounds amazing. And such a rich history of people who have played there and made live albums there. And it's, yeah, sort of a special thing. But I find that with those big ones, it's really hard to have a bad show. Like you have to really blow it to feel like you've blown it. Like I think in a small show where maybe you feel like there's a bit more of an individual connection with, just by, the nature of being physically closer to people and maybe being able to have a little bit more one-on-one eye contact. If you've, flub something or kind of don't, maybe don't hit the note you were reaching for or something, it's like it echoes in your mind a little bit more loudly than at those big shows. I feel like you feel the energy of, thousands of people, like that Bud Stage show, 17,000 people or whatever it is. You could have 17,000 people there, like not really caring that much about the show. And it still sounds like, just
Uh-huh.
the sum of
Yeah.
that many people just existing in a space. It's like you can feel this collective hum and energy. And yeah, like obviously
Yeah.
were liking it. They were excited, but like, honestly, I think with that many people, it's like, it could be, you could be doing the opening set where no one's there to see you and just still feel like so supported by this crazy mass of people. Just even just the sound of them breathing makes it sound
Yeah.
like you're, in a stadium of people cheering. So yeah, pretty easy to feel supported by a big crowd like that. And especially, Dal's fans, like City and Color fans, are just it's a special breed of people who are very emotionally attached and
I
um
don't know what you're talking
as you
about.
know.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's special music. I've always really enjoyed it. And the live shows are great. And that's why I'm lucky enough that I have the means to be able to travel and go to so many shows and see it. It's special. My mom think I'm crazy. She's like, I can't believe you're flying across the country. I'm like, it's okay. Makes me happy.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
crazier
for
ways to
sure.
spend your time.
Well, you're a true multi-instrumentalist. And honestly, you have more talent than anyone should probably be allowed. What was the first instrument you learned and how old were you?
I started playing piano when I was about 3. We had one in the house growing up, and my dad played by ear, and so he'd just sort of sit me down at the piano and put my hands where they needed to be, and I'd bang around, and I kind of yeah just took to it really quickly, and before long I was you know playing and rewinding Disney songs, Lion King or whatever, and playing along and figuring out the melodies. And yeah, I just luckily kind of had a pretty good ear right away, even as a little kid, and just kept just pounding away until um, it all started to click a little more. And yeah, that's sort of just how I've taught myself along the way. I took some piano lessons. Like my parents thought, obviously I was into it. And so they put me in piano lessons. And I just always had teachers who are really unsupportive of the ear training side of it, or like the playing by ear, like, really drilling it into you that like read what's on the page, like don't pay attention to what you're hearing or feeling and just play what's on the page. And that there's real value to learning those skills, but it just was not at all what I was interested in as a kid. And, there haven't really been too many scenarios in my sort of career of playing with people where I've been handed a piece of sheet music with any expectation of being able to read it, for better or worse. I'm sure I'd be a more well-rounded musician if I could, sight read a piece of music. I couldn't couldn't stick with it as a kid, and just
Yeah.
it really sucked the joy out of it. Like I was just so excited to like to me it was so exciting. Like I can hear this thing and I can find the notes and I can just play this thing. I don't need a piece of paper to get me there. And, as rudimentary as it was at first, it's like that was so exciting, and that was like sparked this joy of music that, somehow I'm still here
Yeah. When
doing
did
it.
you pick up guitar?
So yeah, it was piano at 3. I really wanted
Ooh.
to play drums. That was kind of next. I was maybe about 10. This great movie called
Hmm.
That Thing You Do. You ever seen that movie?
Yep.
It's like Tom Hanks, like 50s rock band, kind of like cute rock, music movie. Yeah. Tom Hanks's character is the drummer. And I was just like, fuck, I was so into it. I was just like, this is the coolest. I need to play drums. Like, Mom, can I have a drum kit? And she was such a beauty. You know, we didn't have like a big house or anything. And she just dutifully took me to the music store and like rented a drum kit and, moved the dining table out of the way and put the drum kit there and let me bash away. And so I really wanted to play drums in school band. And then everyone wanted to play drums in school band. So teacher was like, sorry, bud. So I got to play bass, which was not quite the same, but bass was sort of my first, like, it sort of took me down the electric guitar path. And then, that was fun. But yeah, maybe when I was about 13, I started playing guitar and borrowed one from a, friend. My brother's friend's grandma had like played in a rock band when she was a teen and still had this cool old Telecaster, which I kicked myself over not trying to keep because it was probably, didn't know anything at the time, but knowing what I know now, it was probably a pretty cool guitar. Yeah. And then, I don't know, played in punk bands and stuff in my teens. And yeah, I kind of just wanted to keep collecting this list of instruments that I played. It was just exciting to keep adding new tools to the toolbox. And then I grew up in Kelowna, and a friend had come across an pedal steel guitar, like in his attic or something, that had belonged to his dad. And anyway, he eventually, after much pleading, let me borrow it or try it, or I forget how it worked out at first. But eventually I ended up buying it from him, and I just kind of obsessed endlessly. And yeah, from that point on, maybe I was 19 or something. That was sort of occupied a good part of my mental
Yeah.
space every day since then.
The rest is history, right? So I've been curious about this for a while now. You've been a longtime collaborator with Dallas, not just with City and Color, but across several of his projects. How did that musical partnership begin? Like, how did you first start playing with him on his albums?
Good good luck and good timing, I guess. I had moved. I was living in Vancouver for a while after I had after high school. A few years after that, I moved to Vancouver to try to just be in a bigger music city than Kelowna. And after a few years of that, I thought I'd go the next step, short of moving to the States. Toronto sort of made the most sense. And so I was kind of pursuing a love interest and moved to Toronto in hopes also of, finding more music work, finding, session work. I'd started doing a lot of recording, playing steel. You're just like a bit more of an anomaly. So there's always someone who wants you to play pedal steel on their record. And so I just figured I'd move to Toronto and try to be in a bigger city and see what that felt like. And right away, just a mutual friend knew Dallas, and it just so happened that he had just recorded The Hurry and the Harm in Nashville with just like a sort of band of studio musicians, more or less, as this transitional period between playing with some old friends who had played with him before that and then moving to like a new sort of hired band. Yeah, he'd made this record in the studio and was looking for a new touring band to go, tour the album, go all over the world and do all that. And he had sort of already picked everyone else. And it was just really good timing. He was still sort of looking to find someone to do the multi-instrumentalist, pedal steel, keys, kind of whatever else. And it was like, I think I moved to Toronto in February of 2013 and, maybe like right at the beginning of February. And I think by mid-March we had met. I'd gone over to his place to hang and sort of have like a hang audition. It was like, we played some songs, but it was kind
Right.
of like, is this going to be a good vibe together? And right away, kind of just were friends immediately. And yeah, I think it was like mid-March. Our first shows were played South by and then went to the UK or a few shows opening for Pink in like some stadiums in the States and then off to the UK for a tour. It was, yeah, like a crazy, move to Toronto and 6 weeks later I'm on tour. So that, obviously the trial run moving to Toronto
Yeah.
worked.
What was that like your first kind of
Yeah.
big tour and going all over?
Yeah, first thing that felt anywhere, any semblance of sort of a professional tour. I'd done sort of touring around North America and I'd been to Europe and the UK once with another band. But yeah, this was sort of like early days still for me of touring in a real way. Like there were, yeah, a lot of years of the kind of touring where it's like we've got a few weeks of shows that I booked for our band and so it's like everyone gives up their apartments because it's like, you're like spending money to go on tour and, everyone comes back home and just starts couch surfing and, trying to leave ourselves available for touring. But yeah, there were a lot of years where it was not anything like, it was a big shift all of a sudden touring with Dal. It's like a level I was
Do you
unfamiliar
feel
with.
like have you mastered touring at this point? Do you feel like you have it down where, like
God,
the ins and outs?
you would think that someone would after, 10 plus years, but I feel like the thing that still gets me is packing. Every tour, I'm like checking the weather app and I'm like, I don't have the right clothes for any temperature. Turns out I don't know what to do. I'm either packing way too much or totally not enough and always second guessing, like maybe I need a different size luggage or I don't know. Short answer is no. I feel like I'm still blowing it every time. Ultimately, passport, wallet, phone, house keys. The rest you can kind of, if you blow it, forget your underwear or
Yeah.
whatever. You can figure it out on the way. But yeah, still kind of figuring it out. And also like bus touring, the sort of logic of what to pack is totally different from a tour where maybe you're just flying from city to city or if you're yeah, it's just like a weekend trip.
Mhm.
It's all different. I wish there was one solution for how to feel
Yeah.
organized for everything. But it really feels like every individual trip requires a different thing. Yeah, also playing so many instruments, it's like every time I'm like, oh God, like, okay, what is this? This is full band? Okay, so my gear is coming from the, you know, like storage space where all the gear lives, but what do I need to bring from home? And then, anyway, I'm constantly frazzled and
No.
trying to figure it out. So no. basically. I'm still
Well,
figuring it out.
hopefully you'll, be touring for many years and you'll have it, you know,
Yeah,
maybe.
give me another 10 years. Hopefully by then I'll be a little
Well, so
closer.
okay, so you've been based in BC before. You have recently moved back to Toronto, like last
A
year, was it? Um,
couple years ago, I guess, yeah.
yeah.
Fall
So
2 years ago.
from like a musician's perspective, how does the scene in Vancouver compare to Toronto?
Yeah, it's I don't know, notably different for sure. I've always felt like I'm sure every city sort of has ebbs and flows, but I feel like the times I've lived in Vancouver, it's always felt like a bit more of an ebb than a flow, where it just felt like venues would be closing down or, the people just like didn't seem to be coming out to shows as much. Like obviously like bigger stuff kind of does well everywhere, it's like a huge artist playing the arena or playing like nice big venues. It's like it's likely that if you're that big, that there's enough people who are going to come. But sort of in the more emerging artists, grassroots kind of stage of things, it's like yeah, I've always found Vancouver has enough people that I would have expected there to be a little bit more of a music community, but I think it's just such an outdoor focused place that nightlife kind of suffers, sort of, for better or worse, probably for better for all those people who are getting up early to go do yoga rather than go out and go to a show and drink 15 beers, So I think it's yeah, but that is sort of just part of it. The identity of Vancouver is a little bit more like outdoor focused.
It is.
It's a stunningly beautiful place. Like the Northwest is a really gorgeous pocket of North America, and people should be taking advantage of it. But yeah, the downside I feel like is people just there's just less of a sort of nightlife culture there, and so live music kind of suffers. And where Toronto feels like, I don't know, it's just so big and sprawling and so densely populated that there's just enough people to sort of go attend anything, no matter how niche. So I think it just allows a really cool, diverse art and music community to really flourish here, where it's just like, I think having lived here in the past for a couple different stints, it's like both of those stints, I was on tour, like City and Color was touring so much that like my
Right.
stuff lived here, but I didn't really live here that much. And so I don't think I tapped into what was probably here then as well. But this time around, like we've been touring, I mean, it's a little less. We sort of finished an album cycle. And so now I've had some more
Hmm.
time to just be at home. And man, it's just, yeah, it's amazing. Like doing, yeah, like our honky tonk night has been so fun and such a community building thing. It's just like, yeah, I would say like a big difference I've noticed with Vancouver versus Toronto is that like Vancouver stuff is very like scene specific. Like who's going to come out to your event if you're doing like a indie rock show or a country show or whatever, hip hop singer songwriter, whatever it is. It's just like those people who go to those things will go to those things. But in Toronto, this night is like we're playing like 70s country, in a tiny bar in Parkdale. And there's just like people from every scene and every age group kind of coming through. It's like it's just a little bit more I don't know, it feels like yeah, more blended. Like everyone's just involved in everything. You don't have to sort of assign yourself one scene and then stay there. It's a lot more sort of yeah, it feels instead of like music scenes, it feels like a music community, which is new
Yeah.
and really
That
appreciated.
kind of brings me into my next question. Obviously, in June when I was in Toronto and got to go to Hippie Honky Tonk, it was kind of not the normal scene, but you did a special performance for your mom, who I got to meet. She's a sweetheart. I got to sit there and talk. We sat there and had a couple
Yeah,
drinks.
right.
And she was telling me, like, she's like, I really, I enjoy City and Color, but I really love country music. So I made Matt do this tonight. And she said that, growing up, country music really wasn't your scene. You played a lot of punk bands, but now you play across a wide range of genres. Is there a type of music that you love playing most or feel most connected to, or you just kind of go wherever the wind blows you?
I think I spend a lot of time thinking about and practicing pedal steel. So that really like not just country music, but like things that anything in the real like song focused, like songwriter music, which could be, could be really be anything. But it's like, I think the things where it's like, the pedal steel is such a supportive and sort of vocal instrument that I think the where I feel like the music I have the most fun playing is music that has a really sort of good role for pedal steel to play. And that's not necessarily genre specific. I would say for the most part, that kind of typically lends itself to stuff in the sort of folk, rootsy, Americana, country, sort of overall umbrella. And that's also, it is what I find myself listening to the most. And, those are the artists that I kind of pay attention to. So, but yeah, it's doesn't have to be that. But that is, um, typically the bulk of what I'm spending my time thinking about is that sort of songwritery folk country
I
world.
love that. That's again, like your answers just lead right into my next questions. When I need a good pick me up, I like to listen to Runaway. It's my favorite City and
Mhm.
Color song. And your pedal steel on that track is just part of what makes it feel so rich and special. And the song would not be the same without that. Do you have a favorite song that you've played on or one that you especially love performing live?
Yeah, Runaway is a special one for me. I feel like that was a really nice moment too of like a funny music industry thing where when Dal was sort of promoting that record and talking to the radio people, whoever they are, about, like pitching whatever single next for to the radio. It's like that was one of the singles on that one. And whoever these radio people are thought that the song would do better if the pedal steel solo was omitted.
No.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
How dare
appalled.
they? Obviously, I disagree. Yeah, I think Dal's been very consciously had a career where he's made sure that he gets to make the creative decisions, and sort of it's a funny industry where everyone's kind of just guessing what's going to be popular. And if people have guessed right enough times, they think they actually know something. But it's
Right.
anyone's guess what's going to connect with, and anyway, it's like luckily Dell was just like, no, like this is the way the song is. Like just play it or don't. And obviously it got played a fair bit. So that was, nice little stick it to the man moment. And it's so nice, like, I'll be in Home Depot and just like hear my pedal steel solo on every now and again. It's just like it's nice. It's still floating around out there. But yeah, that's like a little
Yeah.
personal victory there, just because of that sort of backstory of it. But also, yeah, I really love, I mean, there's a lot of songs that we play regularly that I really love. Yeah, Delaware, like Hello, I'm in Delaware is another one that I really, it's talk about a song that has like room for pedal steel to be this supportive sort of voice in it. Like I just love what that song has evolved into live. And that's always one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
It's, a pretty chill moment in the set. And it's really just like lush and lots of harmonies and yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's all fun. It's also fun to just like, as much as I love playing pedal steel, it's nice to stand up and play
Yes.
guitar every now and again, rather than being back in my little corner hiding behind all the various keyboards and pedal steels and amps and things. It's like nice to crawl out of my little lair and get up
Yeah.
front and
Like
play guitar
I
sometimes
think
too.
like when you guys play like Bow Down to Love, like that one just goes, you guys all just go off and it's just a vibe.
Very,
Yeah.
yeah, no shortage of
So
guitars in
good.
that one.
Well, summer is kind of coming to a close. Do you have any shows
Mm.
that you're looking forward to playing over the next few months or albums coming out that maybe you've played on that you're excited about?
Yeah, actually there's yeah, mid-August is kind of stacked for me. I'm playing um so City and Color, we're doing our one sort of, we had some tours in the beginning of the year and then we've basically been off since March, and August 17th we're playing a festival called Riverfest in Elora, Ontario. And that's going to be full band. And we will have not played since March, and we don't get a sound check. So we are going to just show up and get on stage and play. And it's going to be so fun. Like that's very exciting for all of us to just, we
Yeah.
all love a good wing. So that's going to be, talk about that feeling of just like getting on stage and feeling supported by one another. It's like, it's going to be, a lot of sort of, communicating with our eyes but, also
Right.
it's like we played these songs a lot of times. And I think there's sometimes a really fun, a raw energy that comes from, just having to sort of be in the moment a little bit more rather than relying on the sort of muscle memory of having done it the last 10 nights in a row. So that is going to be fun. Also playing pretty much the whole City and Color band is backing up another artist called Spencer Burton at that festival as well. And yeah, what else is going on? I mean, yeah, Honky Tonk Wednesdays, still kind of just doing that through most of the summer,
Yep.
doing that tonight. Um, and yeah, Georgia Harmer's album is coming out August 15th. And yeah, I got to play, sort of sneak in at the end and overdub on a bunch of that and played pedal steel and played some keys and played, a bunch of bits and bobs on there. But that's going to be, it's so good. And, there's been
Yep.
4 singles out already. And so, yeah, the last single and the rest of the whole album comes out on the 15th, and that's going to be so good. Um, yeah, really excited for that. What else? Playing with Wyatt C. Lewis in
Ooh.
September in Victoria.
You know what? You know
If you feel
what?
like take the
I
Clipper
was just
across.
gonna ask you, I'm like, anything on the west, any reason for me to go up to Canada? I will.
Yeah. That's Rifflandia Festival in Victoria, September 17th or something. And then playing with Bob Sumner in sort of the end of October in Victoria, Bob Sumner in the Deep Dark Woods. That'll
Yeah.
be really good. Yeah, lots of bits and pieces. Playing some shows with Altameda, awesome bands, friends of mine who are from Alberta, but they live in Toronto now. Yeah, what else is going on? I mean, that's probably enough. But yeah,
That's
there's
awesome.
lots
Well,
going
yeah,
on.
I'll definitely have to try and make it up there. Just I always am just looking for a reason to head up there. Actually going up to Victoria. I was there last month for a weekend and then going back in a couple weeks actually. We fell in love with Government Street Tattoo. We love it. We love the vibe in there.
Yeah, who have you been getting
So
tattooed by
I
there?
just got tattooed by a guy named Dave, and I think last year I got tattoos
I
somewhere.
got that one's
Nice,
from Government Street.
yes. Well, so we have an appointment on the 22nd. We're going or the 23rd, I think. So I'm getting another one. So yeah, we're gonna
Oh, that's
again,
awesome.
like any reason to get out of the US for is fine by me. So,
Fair
so.
enough.
All right. Well, that was all of the questions that I have. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with
Thanks.
me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Happy to.
Hey y'all, Allie here. Just wanted to thank you all for listening to the first episode of Chords and Conversation. I am just now getting started with podcasting, so bear with me while I get through the first time jitters. And I hope that you loved this episode. Matt is such a great musician, awesome dude, and I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, do all of the things that the podcasters tell you to do. And I can't wait to hear how you liked the episode. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time for Chords and Conversation. Take care.